A martini, shaken, not stirred.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I'm your #1 fan.
And here we go.
Happy Monday, moviegoers, and welcome to this post-Thanksgiving episode. And welcome to the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, as I am your host, Juan, and I am joined here by the full crew today. Ed.
Hey, what's up, folks?
Zach.
What's going on, guys?
And welcome back to the Roundtable Talk, Craig.
How's it going?
And we are full of turkey, ham, green bean casserole,
and a billion Blu-rays.
I'm already gonna. Everybody, I'm a little lighter, a little thinner. My wallet's a lot thinner after Black Friday. Craig, Zach, Ed, I think this has been quite a ride. It has been a fun November, but what better way to end this month with talking yet another 007 movie. You guys, we just got done talking about Quantum of Solace 2 weeks ago, so today we are finally talking, in my mind, the best Bond film that I've ever seen, and that's Skyfall. So, but for those of you out in podcast land, how many of us really did like this movie? A lot of people say it's the best Bond movie, but I think there's somebody here in this group that might disagree with some of us.
Bum, bum, bum.
But Black Friday, guys, was just past weekend. Craig, the PS5 is out. You have that controller in your hands. What does it feel like?
It's a nice feel.
Nice. Did you get the black or the white controller?
It's the white one.
White one. It's the one that.
Just the normal one, yeah.
Are they? Did they have different colors of systems?
No. Just the system itself is kind of like a grayish white. It's not necessarily just like a flat or bright white. There's some kind of gray to it, but yeah.
Calling back to that PS1.
Yeah, a little bit.
How are the visuals on the new system?
Miles Morales is amazing.
The new Spider-Man game.
Spider-Man, Miles Morales is amazing. Call of Duty's pretty good.
So, Craig, I bet you have fucking calluses the size of fucking rocks right now with how much you've been playing on that PlayStation.
Nah, no calluses.
No calluses?
But I'll put in some time.
Zach, Black Friday shopping in person, or did you do it online?
I did most of mine online.
You didn't know inside Best Buy. I did go inside Best Buy the way they have it set up now.
Mm.
Fucking, and I think they only set it up like that because of Black Friday.
Yeah.
So they are gonna, they did do it, and they brought the line around, around the back. So, it's just going to be social distancing Black Friday, but it's not going to be on Thanksgiving. They opened up Friday at 6 a.m.
Oh, they just opened earlier on Friday, basically.
Yeah, well, no Thursdays.
I mean, they did 4 weeks of deals throughout November, so. Online.
For those of you who are wondering why Craig sounds like that, he did have a case of the COVID, which is why he was not. No, I'm just messing with you guys. He does currently have the COVID, though. That's why he's not like that.
Yeah, no,
it's probably from all that damn yelling at the online for playing online, yelling at those little 15-year-olds whipping your ass on Madden.
I would say more 10-year-olds.
No, I really don't know what the deal is.
15-year-olds are playing Fortnite still.
I want to thank everybody who tuned in last week to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Everybody kind of liked it. Zach, you were high on it. You gave it an 8. I gave it a 9. Ed, you gave it a 6. So everybody who tuned in last week, downloaded last week's episode, thank you. Halloween 3 and the Candyman episode officially hit over 2,100 downloads. in just less than 4 weeks. So thank you everybody who downloaded that episode. Remember, that's just downloads, guys. That's not anybody streaming the episode. So more people stream than they do downloads. So thank you everybody who tuned in through those episodes. The numbers just keep rising for us, just like COVID, but in downloads. So
Which one's better?
downloads. Does anybody have any recent watches they want to get off their back? You know, we just got done with Black Friday, so we got new Blu-rays. We had NFL football on Thanksgiving, college football this weekend. So anybody have any fun honorable mentions or honorable mentions? I'm skipping ahead of myself. Does anybody have any shit?
Does anyone have any recent watches?
There we go. I didn't take my medicine today, Zach.
I do not.
Jesus Christ, Ed.
Sorry, I've been busy, dude. Work's been hell. Please.
Believe it or not, I've only got like 4. So I know.
Someone's been slacking.
Yeah, 4 in 3 days. I'm sorry. I checked out Skyfall for today's episode. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles it made me want to watch Uncle Buck, so I did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, did you watch it yet?
No.
Are you gonna? Since you like Planes, Trains, yeah.
Yeah, you told me it was on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So probably by this recording it won't be on there no more.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun rewatch. I ended up watching Black Dog with Patrick Swayze and Randy Travis and Meatloaf. Why would they put 2 country stars in a fucking movie? They were the turnoff of the movie for me.
Meatloaf was rock.
Well, he looks like a big old country fed born fucking motherfucker, and I'll tell you what, he can't fucking act, I'll tell you that much. Patrick Swayze picks up the movie and literally has to carry everybody, but the action's good, but it just wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Then I finally checked out Star Wars Phantom Menace in 4K, and
it showed me a
I think I cried that night.
You texted me a picture of a Jar Jar in 4K.
How good did he look? He looked good, didn't he? You could see his fucking pores. You could see that Jar Jar had bad acne that day. And then I checked out
No, but
Skyfall.
Yeah, but you're the 4K person of the group. How did the transfer look?
It looked good. The only thing I've watched it on has been the old Blu-ray box set compared to this one, and it's lighter, it's brighter. The weak CGI scenes that are in there on some of the the CGI scenes, they don't look as 90s CGI, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed it. I also believe, guys, Craig brought it up to me, you can check these versions out. If you don't have them on 4K, they are on Disney Plus in 4K.
Okay.
You have to have an eligible streaming device to get it in 4K, though.
Right. Which means Xbox One,
Apple TV 4K.
the new Fire Stick TV 4K box.
Yep.
And then the Roku 4K box.
Yeah.
So
and then a lot of TVs are kind of integrating it into it now, too.
Yeah. 2019 and higher. So if you guys have those, I would highly recommend it. Craig, what about you? You check anything fun out?
Yeah, so lately, I mean, I'm trying to go back. I haven't been here a while.
A few weeks.
I'm trying to go back and remember a lot of stuff that I checked out.
If you want to go back, or you got it?
Yeah, I got it. So I checked out Moana like 30 times because my daughter is real big into Moana right now. Checked out Nacho Libre.
How fun was that? Was that a fun rewatch? Because I don't know if I mentioned it, but a few weeks ago I watched. Ed, help me. You were here. We rewatched Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was the same director who did Nacho Libre, and I'm like, I want to watch Nacho Libre.
It's Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Did them.
Was it fun?
I always liked Nacho Libre.
I haven't watched it literally since it came out.
It's one of those ones where it's like, oh hey, Nacho Libre, or I think about something because I always make jokes about once I get that corn out of my face, and it makes me want to watch it. It's one of the, in my opinion, one of the better Jack Black films. It's up there with School Rock in my opinion, of rewatchability. And so check that out. Check out a movie called #Alive on Netflix, which was it's like a zombie type movie, and it shows one guy in sort of like an apartment complex where he lives alone, and then he wakes up and there's a pandemic. Just people are infected with zombies. He's living in his house, He's in there for like a couple days, maybe a week or so, and then he finds out that there's another girl across the way from him that's still alive too. So they kind of come together and try to survive the apocalypse.
Who's in that? Is Donald Sutherland in that?
No, it was some no name.
Just a bunch of no names.
Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson.
No. Hashtag alive.
Oh, I thought it sounded like you were talking about Zombieland.
Let me find it real quick. It's right here. Actually, I'll just IMDb it. And then so other than that, watching Skyfall. And then I think I went back and watched all the episodes that we were going to do. I just wasn't able to make those.
Yeah, last time you were here was 2 weeks ago for V Vendetta.
Yeah. And
that was a pretty fun episode. So if you guys want to go back and check out that episode in the archives on Spotify, Podbean, and Anchor, the whole month, V for Vendetta, Quantum of Solace, and last week, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, okay, so Hashtag Alive is a 2020 South Korean zombie film directed by Chow Tu-young, starring, I'm going to butcher these, Yu Ah-in and Park Shin-hai. It is based on the 2019 script Alone by Matt Naylor, who adapted a script with...
Because that's the version that I know, Alone.
Okay.
With Tyler Posey and Donald Sutherland.
Okay.
So
yeah, is
that the original version, or is that a remake of that?
It's probably a remake of Alone.
Okay.
And it's just a South Korea version. Like his own spin on it.
Zach, what about you? You check anything fun out this week?
I actually went to the theater this weekend for the first time in quite a while. I checked out a movie called Let Him Go with Kevin Costner and Diane Lane.
Oh, I heard about that.
Really good. Really well acted with the two main leads.
Where'd you go? What movie theater's still open? Harkins?
AMC in Norman.
Norman? Oh, the one we went and saw Terminator at.
Yeah. Really well done. It reminded me a lot of Hell or High Water. But I don't think it's as good as Hell or High Water, but it's
not.
It's probably not.
Ben Foster's not in it.
Or Chris Pine or Jeff Bridges. It's really well done, really well acted. The cinematography is really beautiful. It's probably, obviously we've had a really shitty year, so probably one of the better movies that, if you were going to go see something, definitely go check that out. So
what else when you went, what else was available as far as something new? Or if you can remember, just name, even if they were older movies, what was available?
Really, the only things that I like new 2020 wise was Honest Thief.
Was Greenland on there?
No. Honest Thief and Love and Monsters. It's like this Dylan O'Brien movie where it's like a post-apocalyptic thing. But other than that, there was really nothing else out.
Dylan O'Brien, isn't he the Maze Runner character?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what else, as far as like older movies though, was there a lot to choose from?
No, they really didn't have a big selection like they have been. It was kind of like those three and then very limited showings, and then like I think they had part of me thinks that they did have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but it was like for one showing.
Yeah, probably.
So,
yeah.
Other than that was pretty much all I checked out.
Like I said, guys, you guys can follow all of my recent watches on the Instagram page, which is one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And then you can check out the Twitter, which is at Cine-Men405. And then the Facebook is facebook.com/movie reels, REELZ 405. Or just Facebook search the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. We pop right up. Ed, they can also check out some unboxing videos and more on the YouTube page. How do they find the YouTube page?
Go to that facebook.com/movie reels 405. Hit the learn more button right there. That learn more button will transport you to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has a like, subscribe, and comment section, as well as a notification bell. We'll let you know every single time we drop an episode. So go ahead and hit all three of those. The dislike button, either way for that matter. Leave us comments. Go ahead and interact. Would love to hear from you.
Don't forget, guys, this episode is brought to you by Rodeo Cinema, located at 2221 Exchange Avenue in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. You can give them a call at 235-FILM. That's 235-3456. Their schedule is always subject to change, but for more information, you can visit them at www.rodeocinema.org. This is their November film schedule, but this is stuff that they play. They played Planes, Trains, and Automobiles this past weekend. They also played some Alfred Hitchcock screening clubs, and then they played The Raid 2. And then they played earlier this month. They played V for Vendetta. So keep an eye out. They play new movies as well. They also play independent and local films, and they also play classics. So if you didn't get to check any of these movies out on the big screen when they first came out, you can check them out now. Only at Rodeo Cinema for just $5. You can also rent out the theater for as low as $99, guys. You can have the whole theater to yourself. So check them out. Rodeo Cinema, 2221 Exchange Avenue, right here in Oklahoma City, the official movie theater of the Cine-Men movie podcast. All right, guys, this week's top 5, we are talking our top 5 action scenes from our favorite action movies. So it has been an awesome week, an awesome month of top 5s, guys. We've talked our top 5 graphic novels. We've talked our top 5 movies from 2008. And then last week we talked our top 5 comedy duos. So if you want to go back and listen to any of those, go check them out. Spotify, Podbean, and Anchor. Play along. Next week is going to be a new top 5, just like it is every week. So, does anybody have any honorable mentions?
I do have one. Blood and Bone. Basically, it's when he goes and is going around to different fight clubs and all that. Michael Jai White's character, Bone. And he's getting to fight different people and all that, trying to come up on the scene. And they're all like, "This motherfucker is a beginner. You said he was a beginner." And he's like, "No." He's like, "He's a beginner in this scene. I didn't say he was just a fucking nobody." And basically, he's like going around whooping basically 4 people at a time. And yeah, so honestly, if you've never checked it out and you like kind of gritty, raw films that are fight films, Blood and Bone's pretty good.
I just got a few honorable mentions. Mine is going to be the opening. It's not really a chase or a fight scene, but it's the opening scene of Indiana Jones: Raiders of the Lost Ark, when he's got Alfred Molina with him, and he's taking the gold off of the thing, and the big ball comes chasing after him. Classic opening scene. And then my official honorable mention is going to be. I fucking lost it. Yeah, that's my my honorable mention is from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Zach, what do you got at your honorable mention?
My honorable mentions, I have 3. The Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne versus Dash, where he jumps through the window and starts fighting hand-to-hand combat. Avengers Infinity War, the Wakanda battle. And then my official honorable mention is Mad Max Fury Road, the sandstorm chase, where Furiosa leads them into like a massive sandstorm.
Craig, you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, so I got 3 of them. First honorable mention is Black Panther, the opening kind of sequence whenever you first see him in the costume and he drops out of the plane that they're in. Second one's going to be Equilibrium, the opening scene, but towards the beginning he goes into a dark room and the room's black, door shuts, and all you see is the lights from the flashing guns and he just takes out the whole room. And then the third one's going to be Infinity War along with Uzak, the Wakanda scene when they just have an all-out war.
All right, let's go on to number 5. Zach, you want to start us off here? What do you have at number 5?
Number 5 for me is probably You can make an argument. Probably one of the greater scenes in this franchise, in my opinion. Number 5 for me is Star Wars: Force Awakens. Kylo Ray versus Ray and Finn.
And which one?
In Force Awakens.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Up at that point, one of the major characters is gone forever, and then basically Ray and Kylo have it out, and then Ray finally is getting her Jedi powers get going, and those two have an awesome lightsaber battle. I think it was a perfect way to end that film, and it really sets up like what Ray was going to be and what Kylo is.
Yeah.
So,
Set up what those films could have been. Should have been.
yeah.
You
have to remind me of the disappointment.
My number 5 is going to be in the same saga, the same franchise. It's going to be Duel of the Fates. I just watched this the other night. Darth Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Qui-Gon Jinn. Just when he opens up that dual-sided saber, the music hits, and you see Padme just be like, we're taking the fucking long way. You just know. I had goosebumps then, as I'm sitting here talking about it. I had goosebumps when I was watching it. If I can appreciate anything from episode 1, it's that last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
As soon as that music hits, it's on. And I can go back and watch that fucking scene multiple times in a row. I can't wait till we eventually talk about episode 1. So.
Right.
Well, and that scene, like, as Darth Maul is pacing back and forth.
And Qui-Gon's on his knees, like, kind of praying or whatever, yeah.
And then Obi-Wan's in the back because he's not far off, but he's separated by a couple walls of that laser. You're just sitting there like, is Obi-Wan going to make it? What's going to happen? Like, there's a lot of anticipation during the battle too. So I thought, yeah, that's a good scene.
Yeah.
That's my number 5. Ed, we'll go on to you next. What do you have at number 5?
Number 5, I'm ranking it this low just because it's kind of a huge scene, and it's not, or really more scenes, but it's kind of all over the place to a point, but it's really, really good. Helm's Deep from the Lord of the Rings franchise.
Yeah, that's a great sequence.
In Two Towers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Helm's Deep is just like I said. The only reason I'm putting it this far down is just because it's not a specific, this fight, and it was fucking hell for probably 20 minutes or so. Then Gandalf and the troop rides into town and saves ass, basically.
Even behind the scenes footage, they even say that filming that was hell.
I imagine, because that's a lot of people to get orchestrated, and you're doing this. Okay, stand here until he yells this, and then do this, and blah 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 blah.
It's very well crafted.
The choreography is amazing. So yeah, definitely a great scene right there for an all-out war.
Craig, what do you have at number 5?
My number 5 is going to be the scene where Sam in Tron Legacy fights Rizzler, and soon after they do the light bike race. I thought those were 2 of the better scenes of that film, which some people consider a subpar film. I like it. I think it's a very good film. So yeah, the Rizzler fight where the discs are flying around, the kind of map is turning upside down and going sideways, and then the light bike fight, I thought were 2 great scenes.
Yeah, that was a pretty good number 5. I think Tron Legacy is really underrated. Maybe we'll have to throw it up on a poll or just kind of talk about it one day. All right, Zach, what do you have at number 4?
My number 4, really, you could make an argument for these 3 films. Any one of those sequences in those films are incredible. But for me, the one that kind of sticks out the most is from John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, where he makes the revolver basically from scratch, and then kills the guy, and then proceeds to have an incredible knife fight in a warehouse of some kind, going left and right, breaking glass, head, chest, eye, axes are involved. It's incredible, and probably what I'm amazed is not only Keanu Reeves' approach to making these films, the dedication he does, but also just the fact that it's all stunt work and it looks like legit.
He went through months of work with SWAT teams and military force just to go ahead and get how to use the weapons down packed, and I mean that takes a lot of
Correct way to
dedication.
hold it, correct way to enter.
Yeah.
Correct way
Well, I mean,
about
even tactical
corners.
solutions,
Yeah.
because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not just go ahead and hold the gun like this and fire. It's a lot more to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and even after that sequence is where he gets on the horse and goes all over the city. So
Yeah. I remember that was like the first scene that you saw for leaks for that film, where he's on the horse and you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah.
My number 5 is going to be. My number 4 is going to be the helicopter versus helicopter sequence from
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible Fallout,
Oh,
where Tom
awesome.
Cruise is chasing Henry Cavill's character with, first off, you're sitting there on the edge of your seat because he's only got like 4 minutes to catch him.
and then turn the nuke off or whatever.
Yeah.
No.
And it's an amazing sequence. I don't know if Henry Cavill learned how to drive a fly helicopter, but I know Tom Cruise did it for this scene, and it
He was
looked
like, "Fuck it, I'm doing it."
it looked incredible.
But even even right before that, where he's climbing up
when
the helicopter,
I would say
it's-
from the climb of the helicopter until the ending,
Mhm.
it's some of the best action sequences I've ever seen, and it helps because he's literally up there doing that shit.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4 is Mission Impossible Fallout, the helicopter chase scene at the end of the movie. Ed, what about you? What do you got at number 4?
Number 4, I'm going to go ahead and go kind of with Zach in a way. Keanu Reeves, The Matrix. I don't know exactly what the scene's called, but bullet scene where pretty much
a backflip.
No, where the whole I don't know what they're called, agents
Where
or
are you
SWAT or whatever.
What part of the movie?
They're coming after Neo and
Is it the lobby sequence?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Neo and the Trinity, and I mean, don't get me wrong, at several points you're like, damn, they haven't gotten hit yet because the pillars are like getting grinded
Shredded.
down by these bullets, and it's just like, fuck. I can't imagine the brass cleanup from that with all that shit going on.
Good thing it was just a program.
Well, yeah, that too. But yeah, Matrix, yeah.
Craig, what about you? What do you got at number 4?
My number 4 is going to be it's a movie called The One, starring Jet Li.
Jason Statham.
Um,
Yeah, he's in that movie.
Or is that War?
that's War.
He's in the one too, isn't he?
I thought The One was just
Jet Li?
Jet Li, because it's Jet Li fighting other versions of himself from. Will you check it up on? Check up on that for me?
I mean, I could have been wrong. I thought he was. Jason Statham was in that just a little bit. Go ahead and talk about your scene. I'm sorry.
It's the opening scene where they're transporting, which it turns out to be the antagonist for the film. They're transporting him. I might be wrong about that, but they're transporting one of the people of Jet Li.
Yeah, Jason
And-
Statham is in it.
Okay. And so they're transporting. I'm sorry, they're transporting Jet Li, and then the bad Jet Li, the antagonist, is in the kind of air ducts, and he's trying to kill the Jet Li because the more Jet Lis he kills, the stronger he gets, and so he's trying to eliminate as many of them as possible. And then so he pops out of the air ducts, and the song "Bodies" from Drowning Pool comes on. And he just takes out all of them. And it has a little bit of a Matrix feel to it because he's faster than the rest of them. But just when that music hits and he starts going, it's just like, dude, this is badass. So
A lot of the Americanized Jet Li movies get like scrutinized, like, oh, they're not as good as the ones he did, But I don't know. To me, they I like more of his American style films than some of his foreign films. Like when he was the bad guy in Lethal Weapon 4, like that was fucking badass. It was awesome seeing him kick the shit out of those two. But Zach, what do you have at number 3?
Number 3, I won't talk too much about because we're going to be talking about this movie here in a couple weeks. 2005's King Kong, basically the King Kong versus the T-Rexes sequence. Really well done, really well shot, and the visuals on it still hold up to this day. And I think it's even longer than the original 33 version, and they're just going all over. And it literally ends up in a crevice where they're like on the Naomi Watts is like being thrown through the vines, and they're just like the T-Rex and Kong are just fighting it out.
You can answer this, or you can wait until we talk about King Kong in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Do you find it difficult for those monster movies, those scenes to get filmed, even in the newer ones, because of the creatures are so big and there's not that, it's kind of hard to put them in both in this fighting scene at once?
You mean like
Like a few weeks ago, Ed kind of complained about how, in Double O, the camera is shaky and the camera's kind of following real fast in the fight scenes. Do you kind of feel that same way about the monsters and the fight scenes in those big monster movies?
No, I because when you're creating a CGI creature, you got to extend the lens, extend the camera, and make it where they fit in the screen. And so I think when they're going at it, it's easier to watch.
It's kind of like predetermined almost.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Pre-visualization or whatever.
Yeah. My number 3 is going to be the opening bank scene from The Dark Knight. Literally, it's up there. I don't know what else you can say about it.
It puts you in the mode of the film and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Literally from just the opening all the way until he takes off the mask and gets in the school bus. It's to me, it's probably one of the best opening scenes in any kind of movie you could ever watch. But to me, the action, just remember seeing it on the IMAX, that big screen with Joker and the machine guns going. It's awesome. So my number 3 is the opening bank scene from The Dark Knight. Ed, what do you got at number 3?
Number 3, I'm going to go ahead and and some people might be mad at me for this, but I'm going to go ahead and put Endgame when the Avengers assemble is the best thing I can think of it to be. When Cap finally gets to go ahead and say the complete phrase and every fucking body comes up. All
the portals open up.
Yeah.
Michael Vick moved next door? Jesus.
God damn, dude. Wow.
He's the changed person.
Yeah.
Shit. But yeah, I'd have to say that is a lot of energy, a lot of
Hey, Mike.
Just great vibes going on, and it was just an amazing scene from there throughout. Whether they got their asses kicked or not, that don't matter. It was really well done. So yeah.
Avengers Assemble.
Yes, sir.
Craig, what do you got at number 3?
My number 3 is going to be the ending fight in Venom.
Ooh.
Between Venom and
Carnage. Well, no.
just the other symbiote. I don't think it was.
No, it was not Carnage. Carnage
No,
the next
it wasn't
one.
Carnage. It was just another symbiote that took over the Doctor. So that fight where they're kind of going up the rocket ship because they were gonna. I don't know where they were taking something, but they're fighting on that launch pad, and they keep throwing shit at each other, and they're trying to take each other out of the body of the symbiote. I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was great kind of.
I mean, literally rip them out of each other.
Rip them out of each other, and he tries to explode it and get the other guy out. So I just thought it was great, planning and usage of how the symbiote is not like infecting you. It's just simply kind of going over your body and using you as a host. So that's my number 3.
They still doing the Carnage movie, aren't they?
Yeah,
or is he just gonna be in Venom 2?
No.
It's not a Carnage movie all himself.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage, I think, is June of next year.
June of 21?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for everything that they're going to be doing with Spider-Man and Venom. Sorry, I just the way they're going with this is going to be epic.
And with Morbius?
Yeah. Morbius and.
All right, Zach. What is your number 2 favorite fight scene?
Number 2
action scene.
Number 2 is. I remember the first time I saw this in IMAX. I was completely blown away. It was just. It puts you in the action. It was just nonstop for however long the sequence is, 3 maybe 4 minutes. Number 2 for me is Ready Player One, the race sequence. It's just when it goes, you feel like you're just driving one of the cars and you're just all in it. And then when they actually get to the where the cars like flip off the ramp into the next part of the city or whatever, it goes. And I mean, I enjoy all the little quote unquote cameos and Easter eggs that they throw in there, like the 2 Spielbergs, the T-Rex, the oil tanker from Duel.
Isn't RoboCop in there too?
Yeah. And then like the 60s Batman car towards the end of it. And then Kong, quote unquote, ironically enough, shows up, and he's kind of like the one that they have to beat in order to get to the key. Really well done. I mean, yeah, it is all CGI or visuals, whatever you want to call it, but you can't say you get like adrenaline from watching it.
Good movie. Maybe we should talk about it one day. My number 2 is going to be the Luke and Vader fight scene from Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. From the moment Luke gets to the Cloud City until he gets his hand chopped off and finds out Vader's his dad. I think that is probably the best, to me in my eyes, feels for me. That's probably one of the better Star Wars endings or sequences, scenes.
I can understand how you can get alcoholism after all that.
And film franchise. So yeah, that's my number 2. Luke Vader fighting up in Cloud City, Empire Strikes Back. Ed, what do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and the culminating fight of probably, what was it, about 12 years worth of films, 8 different films, big book series, the ending battle for Hogwarts. Gotta love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you get a lot of different shine for a lot of different characters, a lot of grim moments for other characters. So it's definitely a bittersweet victory, I guess, in the end. However, overall, the story transforms the entire world of Harry Potter for me. Just those scenes were just really well done by the graphics teams that they used and all that. So yeah, gotta say I love it. That is my number 2.
Craig, what do you got at number 2? Number dose.
My number 2 is going to be the fight between Spider-Man and Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man 2 is still the best Spider-Man movie to date. And that fight where knowing the comics and seeing some of the cartoons, you knew that Doc Ock was going to be bad at the end. But starting out where it's mentor and student, and they're kind of in a great friendship because they both admire one another, and then Doc Ock comes out and takes Mary Jane, and he's trying to do the whole orb thing, and it's going to tear apart the city, and it just leads up the entire movie to that fight, and the fight does not disappoint. So Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock is my number 2.
Number 2. Zach, what is your number 1 favorite action fight scene?
My number 1 I'm going to take from one of your films. That sequence you had, the Halo jump, basically the chase all around Italy. I think that's where they are. But the one that really stuck out to me was from Mission Impossible Fallout, the bathroom fight.
Oh, man, I forgot about that bathroom fight.
Where it's Tom Cruise, Henry Cavill versus what they think is John Lark, and they're just going at it. Going through...
They kicked the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they're going through mirrors, they're going through the actual bathroom stalls. It's incredible. The fact that the cinematography in that scene is incredible. And, once again, it's Tom Cruise literally doing all of his own stunts. And I wonder if, anytime Henry Cavill's in the same sequence with him, it's just like, God damn it, can I keep up with this dude?
Yeah, so, he's bigger and younger, and I still don't think you can keep up with him.
Yeah. So, yeah, my number 1 is Fallout, the bathroom fight sequence.
My number 1 is going to be 3 different fight sequences, and it's going to be all. My number 1 is going to be another DC film. Surprise, surprise. But it's going to be just probably, I'm going to just point these 2 out. The same movie, so it's not like a tie or anything. But it's going to be the opening the night a comedian dies scene from Watchmen. And then the second one is when Rorschach gets thrown into prison and he has that fight in the lunch line. And he throws the hot grease on the people. So me as a fan, just seeing the Watchmen, those 2 fight scenes in that movie is it's hard hitting, and then the way the movie just opens up, and then it starts off with the Simon and Garfunkel song afterwards, or no, it's not Simon and Garfunkel, it's It's the night a comedian dies, and then as soon as that scene is over, you hear the Bob Dylan song, "The Times Are Changing." So to me, those two scenes in Watchmen are just super impactful, and they are completely game changing as far as the movie goes. Those two scenes of action just set the whole tone for the movie. So goddamn, Ed, what do you have at number one?
Number one might actually ruffle some jeans here too. The duel on Mustafar. Personally, I think that is a huge change in the whole entire series. But
I have the high ground.
yeah, I mean, honestly, because it could have gone. I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, we know how it goes, just because of Star Wars, the original Star Wars, number 4, whatever you want to call it. But when you see Master versus Apprentice and all of this stuff change, and just how intense that battle was, they moved.
There's a lot of emotion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're like, okay, what the fuck's going on with Padme? And then you're like, okay, what's going on here? Why is he understanding that? You see all this different stuff moving basically, and you understand that Anakin truly is seduced by the dark side basically, and it's kind of like, okay, he doesn't see shit clearly.
Yeah,
like, he thinks he does, but he really, really doesn't. It's just I mean, honestly. The Duel of Fates, that definitely, I was like, dude, I don't know about this one. Like, yeah, so there was a lot to pick from, but yeah, I personally, like, when I was probably, we were probably all 13 or so back in 06, 14, somewhere around there. Or no, 15, I'm sorry. That one was a huge turnaround for me. Loved that one. That Duel on Mustafar. Yeah.
Craig, what about you? What do you have at number one?
Well, there's only 2 films that have made me, it's probably just because, I'm a fan of both of these franchises. But there's only two films that have made me just like say what the F whenever I saw it on film. First one I'm going to go with is Endgame, when Cap picked up the hammer and started beating the shit out of Thanos for a good 20 seconds. It's just like he gets the hammer. You see the hammer move. He gets the hammer, and then you're just like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And then he beats, gets Thanos for a little bit, and then Thanos ends up returning the favor tenfold. But so that's the first one is Cap in Endgame, and then the second one is Vader in Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
When he's in that hallway, and it kind of connects Rogue One to A New Hope.
You don't see anything but that red lightsaber.
The red lightsaber comes up, and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like, what the fuck?
Did you go? I think we both talked about it. And I went straight home and watched A New Hope.
Yeah, because I wanted to see just how well it connected to A New Hope. But when we were at
it was Harkins.
Harkins watching it on release day, I know it's coming up, and we're going to talk about it a lot more. But when we watched it on release day, dude, and then they came to that part at the end, and he's just going through, and you see him just slicing everybody up, lifting them up with the Force.
Like I said, we're going to talk about it next week. I feel like if that movie does not get success at the box office, you don't have Mandalorian. They wanted. I really think that if a movie without really any Star Wars characters in it, that just was a kind of a made up thing, and a whole new story, just Star Wars land. If that movie doesn't do good, or if it just completely tanks, I think you probably don't have like the Mandalorian. And maybe the Solo movie doesn't get greenlit, but
yeah,
it all started with Rogue One. Rogue One, yeah, I can't wait to talk about it next week.
Rogue One was just, it was. I mean, we had tickets for that film in advance, and then we went up there and stood in line waiting for the doors to open for like an hour or so. Yeah, and we're just sitting there talking to people left and right, and it was a great experience, great film. Ready to talk about it next week.
Wish we can get that feeling back.
The Skyfall. When it crumbles, we will stand tall, face it all.
All right, guys. Today is episode 117. We are talking the third entry in the Daniel Craig James Bond series. It is Skyfall. It has a 7.7 on IMDb, a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then 81% on the Meta. the budget was $150 million to around that $200 million range, and then it did gross a little over $1.1 billion at the box office. It had a November 9th, 2012 release date. All right, guys, let's talk about it. It is we started talking about Bond in January, guys. We thought we were going to get to talk about No Time to Die in fucking April. Did not happen due to this fucking pandemic.
And we thought maybe we were going to be talking about No Time to Die today.
Yeah, this week.
But no.
Didn't happen, so we ended up talking about Quantum of Solace 2 weeks ago, November 16th. Today we are talking Skyfall. And you know what? Back in January, I could not wait to talk about Skyfall, and it's finally here. So, guys, where were you when you first saw this movie? Did you get to go check in theaters? So, Zach, we'll start with you. Let everybody know how your watch changed from the time you saw it day one to this episode.
Yeah, first time I watched it, I was in college. A whole bunch of us went and saw it, actually. Opening day. That night. I was really impressed with it. I thought it was a very well done film, and when I got the Blu-ray March or February, I think it was February that next year, me and my friend sat down and watched it again, and man, for me, this is a film that, we say this a lot on the show, but every time we watch it, it gets better and better, and there are things that, even technically wise, on this rewatch, I love.
I saw this movie in theaters. I didn't get to see it at the IMAX. Man, where can you put it's I need my fucking medicine today, guys. I really think that this is the best Bond movie that they've ever made. Mm-hmm. I really think this is the best cast of a Bond movie they've ever made. There's really hardly any negatives for me at all. I did really enjoy it in the actual theater, but I didn't like it honestly as much as I did the second or third time around I watched it. But getting ready for this episode, I appreciate a little bit more. So it's gonna be fun to get into. And
on this rewatch, I flat out loved it. So,
Ed, what about you? This is your first time watching it for the episode. What'd you think? Just a few short words. You didn't check it out in theaters?
No, I did not. And yes, first time. Just yesterday, actually.
Nice. So we'll get ready to get into it.
Yeah. I see differences with this one.
Craig, what about you? You didn't? Did you get to check this out in theaters? If not, did your aspects change any time from the first time to now?
Did not see it in theaters. Watched it just after it came out on Blu-ray. Watched it at home one time, and my initial favorite film was Casino Royale. Of these films, haven't really seen Scepter yet. I tried to watch it 5 times, never could get it started just for issues. But Skyfall kind of took that place of my favorite of these films. So,
yeah, let's check it out. It had a November 9th, 2012 release. It stars Daniel Craig as James Bond, Javier Bardem, Naomi Harris, Judi Dench, Ralph Fiennes. Directed by Sam Mendes. We are going to be talking a shit ton of Sam Mendes today because I think he is the big difference. James Bond's loyalty to M is tested when her past comes back to haunt her. When MI6 comes under attack, 007 must track down and destroy the threat, no matter how personal the cost gets. 2 names come to mind when I think of this movie. You guys can take it or leave it. Javier Bardem and Sam Mendes. I think these 2 names to this franchise, to this film, are the biggest help that this whole James Bond series, not only past, present, or future, but those 2 names to me are just amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's really Javier Bardem's character Silva is very much. I think he's very much a worthy villain for Bond. Not only,
even though you don't see him until an hour and 12 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, but what I love about it is that you're building up to this reveal and reveal and reveal, and when we finally get it, you're just like, oh my god, like it's really well acted, it's really well designed. Even it's just really,
I even think it's the best opening to any James Bond movie.
yeah, because it's really just him walking towards Bond and just talking about rats eating each other. It's just like that's awesome.
When they're on top of the train. The best opening.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like the introduction to the villain. Oh yeah, the whole opening sequence of
all the way through the song.
Yeah, yeah. Very it. Realistically, could he have been shot and really fallen off the train and hit the water that hard and survived? No.
Are you going to see this fucking movie though for realistic events?
No.
That irritates me sometimes. I've had people. But
I'm talking about there are people that watch this and say, "Oh, that can't fucking happen."
This is the same fucking people who sit there and watch The Simpsons about Ned Flanders. Oh, fucking Ned Flanders next door. He really can't fucking talk to Jesus, can he?
Locally.
But no, I read a review the other day about 300 because I went back and rewatched 300 for the 4K release, and people were literally talking about the sequence with the fucking arrows covering the sun and coming down on the. And people were the reviews were like, watching this 15 years later, there's no, like, you're talking 15 years later, like, that actual event happened 15 years ago. Like, you're not going to see an action movie like this to see if it's realistic or not. Craig, you're a Marvel fan. I'm pretty sure you fucking...
Oh, all of that shit happened.
People, Spider-Man can't really fucking shoot shit out of his fucking forearm. That's not realistic.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah. I agree, you can.
Like, you don't go see movies like this for a realistic feel.
Yeah, I mean, unless the film says based on true events, and then it has shit like that, then you're like, you can't really do that. But
what did you guys, Craig? What did you guys think of the opening when you meet mostly everybody in the first 10 minutes? You meet, you re-meet Bond, Judi Dench, and then Naomi Harris, and he gets,
Yeah. I mean, you have that car chase scene, and then he gets on the motorcycle, and you have a motorcycle scene, and then, they are on that train scene. It's just nonstop from the beginning.
I like when he gets off the cat demolition thing.
The bulldozer, yeah.
And he just fixes his fucking suit like, yeah, I just fucking did that.
Yeah, like he's doing so much. He's fighting a guy. He just got shot, but yet he still wants to make sure that he looks good. Like, that's the most Bond thing that you can do.
Yeah, it's humorous, but it's like, that's badass.
Yeah.
And then you get a classic scene in this, or a classic line when he talks about shaken, not stirred. I think that's the first time Daniel Craig used that. He probably used it in Casino Royale.
He did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see it in Quantum of Solace.
But even that... No, he didn't. I don't think he did it in Quantum. But even that whole opening sequence, it just escalates, where it's just it's a start of it's a race, and then it's motorcycles on the roof, and then the bulldozer on the train, and then finally the fight on top of the train.
Ed, what about you? Did you like the opening fight scene with the bulldozer and the train? And
it confused the shit out of me at the end of it.
When he got shot?
Because I was just like, what the fucking hell are they doing now? But I mean, I was just like, okay, this is the first 15 minutes, 10 minutes of a fucking film. He's not dying, but how are they bringing him back? That was my big thing, I was one of those assholes was like, okay, fucking 100-foot fall and shit like that. I was like, damn, dude, what the fuck is going on here? Shit.
Well, but when I initially saw it, I thought, he got shot in the shoulder, which is sort of off from what a bulletproof vest where it could be.
I was about to say.
And then, he gets shot in the chest, and you're like, okay, he's just wearing a bulletproof vest. He just got hit so hard that he fell off into the water. But no, he actually got shot both times. It was just...
He fucking
Bond.
did.
That's Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Dude survived getting poisoned and playing blackjack. Come on now.
You guys do get a new entry and a new character and actor introduced into it. Ralph Fiennes in this movie, not as a big of a role as I remember him being in the, this is his first Bond flick, but I do enjoy his role, even though I wanted to see a little bit more of Ralph Fiennes. So,
yeah,
definitely a little weird seeing him with the nose and the hair, but hey,
you should watch him in The English Patient.
I'm just making a joke.
Completely fucking boring movie.
Holy shit.
What do we guys think about Adele and the opening title
I
sequence?
put that in my notes. I think that is the best Bond song.
Yeah, I would agree.
To date.
To date?
To date.
What do you think? You have another one?
Are you talking about No Time to Die?
Yeah.
No Time to Die with who?
Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not great.
It's already out.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Billie Eilish, so.
It's good. I really like it. It sounds very much like a Bond song.
Well, I'm sticking with Adele.
That, and they have that nice little at the end.
Paul McCartney has a good one too.
Damn.
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney's got a really good one. So.
But, I mean, so we all agree in some level that it's a good song.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's a damn good song. I mean, Adele is a good singer. She's got a very, very good voice. That's why they picked her for this. For, you know,
she was huge at the time. I mean, she's still big, but having her kind of have that, her voice is just kind of meant for a Bond song.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that big, powerful, can hit a lot of notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very soft, but at the
Big
same time
range.
being very soft and subtle. So
Big range.
And they usually
nice
try to
tones.
pick people from that area to do the song too, right?
Yeah.
Other than what?
I think
Madonna wasn't.
Madonna, and I think, didn't Tina Turner do one? Didn't she do a Bond song?
Yeah, then whoever did Diamonds Are Forever, that's another good one.
And of course, Chris Cornell
Yeah.
for You Know My Name. So,
Yeah, that one was a good one. So.
but even the title cards, you know, the visuals of it are very dark. It's like a grim, like, you know, by the end of this, someone is not going to survive.
You think
basically.
so?
Yeah.
Before, like when you went and saw it the first time, did you think one of them was gonna die? Because wasn't this one supposed to be the last one that he was in, or was the next one
It was supposed to be Spectre.
Spectre?
Yeah.
Do they even end Spectre like that? Because I've never seen Spectre.
Spectre in without spoiling it. Spectre ends with basically I'll just say that he's got to come back basically for the No Time to Die.
So, and we're talking Spectre in January. So our whole 1 year James Bond is going to take a final turn.
It finally completes its journey.
So hopefully by then we'll have some more notes and news on No Time to Die, the whole 4 hour long movie. So, but yeah,
have they ever just kind of jumping ahead?
2:45.
Yeah.
No, like have they set a new Bond actor so far?
No.
Okay.
There's rumors that Idris Elba or Tom Hardy,
That's what it was. Tom Hardy.
Henry Cavill, I think, was talked about. So
Henry Cavill's not doing it now because of Superman. He signed on to do 3 more DC films.
okay.
So I think it's between Tom Hardy and Idris Elba. Which I would.
Either one. I would.
Yeah. Me too. I did hear rumors, Zach, though, that the whole you did a 4 things that you did not know 2 weeks ago, which we're about to do now.
Mm-hmm.
But you did say that they have not done a James Bond in New York. They are. I heard that is going to be one of the new films in the next series. Should be pretty cool.
Okay.
James Bond in New York.
And did you hear the kind of breaking news? Not really breaking, but they kind of gave away that Lashana Lynch, who's in the new one, who was from Captain Marvel, she's quote unquote the new 007. Theoretically, because of what happens with Bond in the early part of the film, she takes over basically.
Nice.
So she'll be 007 for a little bit.
But Zach, you have 4 things that we did not know about Skyfall. Take it away, Zach. 4 things.
So I did a little bit extra homework. I did 5 things actually.
Well, fucking
Um,
course you did.
So
wait a minute. You did 5 things?
top 5 things you didn't know about Skyfall.
What about 7 things?
FABULOUS.
5 fabulous things that we did not know.
Yeah, get it right, Johnny. M's house in the movie is the former home of the legendary James Bond composer John Barry, who did the iconic theme and everything. During the final assault on the Skyfall Lodge, the downdraft from the helicopter was so strong that it actually blew the false teeth out of Javier Bardem's mouth completely out. The role of Kincaid was originally written for Sean Connery, rest in peace. In mind, the producers originally wanted Connery to come out of retirement and make a surprise cameo. Daniel Craig performed the stunt of leaping and sliding down the escalator rail all himself. And then Adele's Skyfall is the first Billboard Top 10 hit to win the Oscar for Best Original Song since Eminem's Lose Yourself.
Nice.
So
And those are 5 things that you probably did not know.
about Skyfall.
Fabulous.
Fabulous, Zach. Fucking fabulous. Let's talk about Sam Mendes, guys. I think he is the key to this whole film. I think he is the one that literally made. Now, don't get me wrong. The last 2 James Bonds that was previous before this, Casino Royale was good. Spectre, or not Spectre, but Quantum of Solace was okay, and then this one to me is great.
Mm-hmm.
But
This is what the franchise needed. It was basically gasoline for the fire.
But why? I mean, you have a big actor, you have a big fucking name, a big franchise in the past. Why not have a big director and a better cast? When I talked about Quantum of Solace 2 weeks ago, that was the main complaint I had about it. I didn't like the fucking meth-headed actor that was playing the villain. His fucking eyes were going 90-0, like Ed said. And he was just... The cast, other than Daniel Craig and Judi Dench, were really,
And the Bond girl.
yeah, they were really kind of just dry.
Yeah.
I wasn't entertained. The cast and the crew was just kind of...
It's like they didn't have motivation.
Right. It's like they just, hey, let's try to make this for a little of no money and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then this one is completely opposite. You have...
An Oscar-winning director come in and say, look, let's do it right. And there's so much dedication and promise in it that it actually pays off.
Yeah, then you have the actor, the villain, who, ever since then, I think they've been trying to top every year or every film after that, because you got Javier Bardem, and the next one is Christopher Waltz, right?
Yep.
And then the next one after that is
Rami Malek.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why they didn't do this with the first 2, but yeah, this one to me just took the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Ed, what about you? What do you think of some of the casting choices? Was this a little? You said this one was a little bit better than most, or better than the last 2?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, the villain doesn't look like, the actor did the bump of coke every time he came on to scene. I'm gonna say, this one,
You got to get going sometimes.
I know, but damn, like his eyes were in surprise mode 24/7. Like shit. But no, this one definitely, I can see the appeal better in this one than Quantum of Solace, and even a bit more so in Casino Royale. So, yeah, casting was great.
Well, I like Casino Royale's cast.
Casino Royale did have a good cast.
No,
especially the villain.
I'm saying it was good. Yeah.
Okay. I thought we're good.
I'm just saying this one's a little better. Like I can see why this one would be liked more.
And I think one of the other reasons it's just filmed so beautifully. I mean, we're kind of doing like a little watch along. We're watching the Shanghai High Tower sequence.
You just by this sequence, you can tell it's a Sam Mendes film.
Yeah, I mean it is also the cinematographer is Roger Deakins,
The same one for 1917.
1917 and Blade Runner 2049.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like the craft of it is incredible. I mean, they're about to have their fight sequence, and all it is they're illuminated by the LED
neon lights.
Neon lights in the background. Yeah.
And I know it's been 11 months since we talked Casino Royale, but my last review of it was an 8, and then 2 weeks ago I gave Quantum of Solace a 5. So
No, I thought you gave it higher. Did you give it a 6?
I gave it a 5.
What'd you give it, Ed? A 5?
Ed gave it a 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you gave it
I gave it a 7.
a 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, does anybody have anybody? Craig, what do you think? Did you like this one a little bit better than the last 2, or we're pretending we haven't seen Spectre yet?
Yeah.
Is this one the better out of the 3 as far as Casino Royale? Or did you really like Casino Royale?
Yeah. So I like Casino Royale because of not the pacing, not the action, but more so just the setting of it. I like the kind of mind game that they play in Casino Royale.
It is more of a mind strategy film than an action movie almost.
Yeah. So I mean, like pretty much every Bond film is, what can I do to outmuscle the other guy? What can I do to kind of outgun the other guy? And Casino Royale was, he had to play poker to kind of win that game, which might be a turnoff to some people. But I thought the whole mind game of it, of him kind of trying to figure out Le Schaefer while they both knew who each other was, but yet they were in the same room and had no action. I thought that was, kind of a very well done kind of script. Quantum of Solace had some good parts, kind of like I'm trying to think of the name of the brand of the car, but that car flip when he's going down the highway and she's in the middle of the road, like that was a good scene. But
that was Casino.
Was it?
That was Casino.
Was
yeah,
it?
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Are you talking about the opening sequence of Quantum, where they're going through like the, not the underpass, but it's just basically a car chase.
Yeah,
maybe it's just kind of blending together.
But the flip was in Casino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then they take him, and then that's when he's on the chair, and they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Yeah.
They hit him in the double O's.
He had an itch down there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're good on that. Sorry.
You honestly, literally, after 2 weeks ago's episode, you really don't need Quantum in the
I
series.
don't remember much of it.
What's funny is that we did have that email saying like, "Hey, fuck Quantum, just skip it and go to Skyfall."
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, this Skyfall has nothing to do with Quantum at all.
And you really don't even hear anything about, because it's not really a follow-up to Casino Royale either.
No.
It's almost like its own reboot.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one probably goes in hand with Spectre and No Time to Die. So
It's kind of like 3 different storylines.
yeah.
It's kind of like a reboot within a reboot.
But that's how all the other James Bond films are. They really don't go hand in hand. They never have, and I don't think they ever will. So you could, have No Time. The way No Time to Die ends could be completely different from the next one. The way the next one starts, they never will have anything to do with each other.
What I think would be kind of interesting for them to do with the next Bond, whether it's Tom Hardy or Idris Elba or somebody else, is each film be its own separate entity, but at the same time it's leading up to somebody who has a much more kind of like a Thanos. Like you face this bad guy, and it's its own storyline, but they're all interconnected too.
I think the only way they can do that is if they just kind of remake some of the older ones, because all the villains really are one and done. There hasn't been a villain that has lasted more than 2 or 3 Bond films.
Unless it's something like Blofeld, Inspector. Blofeld is a character from the older Bonds, and so he's kind of like the mastermind or whatever you want to call him.
He's Inspector.
Yeah, he's Inspector. So it's just kind of like
fucking spoiler alert.
It's if like you say, Craig, if they decide to do like little individual stories and then do like a massive like
there's one guy that's actually been behind the whole thing.
Everything, yeah.
That would be interesting. But
what about you, Ed? These are some of the movies that you say you kind of, even if you're in the mood to watch a James Bond, you're kind of like, not my thing. Was this one still kind of the same way for you?
Yeah, it's still not going to be like, oh, dude, I got to watch Skyfall, and all that. But, I mean, this is more of an alluring one, just because I think the action was choreographed better than the other ones.
You can tell what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it's not just that, but it's more of the storyline actually kind of makes sense in itself. On top of that, it impacts some of the characters hugely at the end, And I mean, it's not just like okay, we're done, cool, let's go on to the next story. I
would agree. You can definitely tell by the end of this film, it's like obviously lasting consequences.
Right, and I mean that's the thing, kind of like what everybody's saying is it's just kind of like, oh, this is mission A, this is mission B, this is mission C, this is mission D, but it's like 15 years apart, so fuck them all. Don't care. This has nothing to do with the rest of them at all. It's just same guy, same agent.
Same guy trying to save the world 4 times.
Like the fuck? Like, I mean, okay, maybe that's why I like John Wick, is because like John Wick 1, 2, and 3 all kind of they intermingle with each other, and what you did late, and I get that, but I'm giving you a 10-minute window or something like
minutes.
that.
It was like it was a continuation of a storyline that each one was its own thing, but it had a grand scheme of a storyline, and it just blended so well that it didn't feel like it was
exactly
together.
Exactly. And I mean, maybe that's the reason why I kind of just was like, But I mean, other than the ones I've watched for the podcast, I've never actually seen another Bond movie. So,
and this is your first time watch for Skyfall too, right?
Yes.
Is this kind of is this going to go in the same kind of like stack? Like, you know what? I probably won't ever pick up Skyfall again.
probably not, honestly. And I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. Like, Daniel Craig seems really good. You know, all the other, Judi Dench, you know, she's kind of that cold, you know, monotone, doesn't give a fuck, but at the same time really does behind her old facade. But I mean, it's just, you know, I appreciate the actions and the characters and all that, but it's just
Not
like,
your cup of tea.
It's not my tea and crumpets for the day.
These films are they're big initially, but then after that, the rewatch, I feel, is very niche.
Yeah.
You have to be a big fan of Bond. You have to be a big fan of spy films.
Daniel Craig, even for that.
Daniel
matter.
Craig.
Mhm.
But if you're not really a fan,
Unless it makes like a lasting impact, like Skyfall or Casino, you're just like, okay, I'm done.
Well, I mean, okay, Zach, have you seen all the iterations of Bond from Connery to Craig?
I've seen like one of each. I've seen a Connery. I've seen Moore. I've seen Brosnan and Dalton, I think.
So what keeps you coming back to it? No, I mean, I'm not trying to trash or, you know, I'm not trying to that at all. I want to just know, like, I'm curious.
I think it's just the history.
It's just the
of
iteration of it. Like, you know, Connery's very different from Moore. Pearson's very different from Brosnan. It's just kind of like, and also they're very much a product of their time.
Right.
Especially
right.
if you go back and watch the Connerys, they're just like,
Well, I mean, those were
you
what,
know.
in the 60s?
yeah.
So, I mean,
Starting in the 60s, 70s. To me, and I don't know, I've probably seen just as many as Zach, but it's not really what keeps you coming back. It's what can they do to update this time.
Yeah.
Let me see the new cars. Let me see what the Bond girl is like. Let me get that opening video or that opening music. What
are the gadgets going to be?
Yeah. And it's really, you know, you're going to get a different Bond in every different decade.
I will say the one big thing I really, really do like, even kind of going in and looking on some of the history of Bond, is they've kept the same weapon throughout pretty much every single freaking one. That Walther PPK, that's the signature gun.
The gun of the Englishman. But the thing that's gonna like keep me going back and watching the new one, whoever's gonna be in the new one, is what are they gonna use? What kind of storyline are they gonna use? Okay, we're gonna be in like 2025 when the new one comes out. Is it gonna be, you know, an espionage to stop World War III from happening? I don't think they've done that yet. I don't know. Maybe stopping like a World War III from happening.
No, I think it's called Tenet.
Yeah. Yeah, Tenet really felt like a James Bond movie.
Yeah. I mean, Christopher Nolan wants to direct a Bond movie.
You know what? He may not have to.
Exactly.
Putting something out like that, it felt like a Bond movie. Mixed in with a little bit of, you know, past and present and everything in between. That's a good point. You know, in the last episode of December, we are talking a 2020 movie, so I think we're all going to pick up a movie from 2020 and put it in a poll. I've had emails about King of Staten Island. I've had emails about Tenet, Unhinged. So they're going to be the last episode of December. We're going to do a 2020 movie, and you know what? That might how we start out the new year too.
Something, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ed. I think one of the things why you don't like this franchise is the quote unquote tropes that these films have. You know, there's always a Bond girl, there's always a car, there's always a mission, there's always a bad guy. There's the formula really doesn't change. It's kind of the same thing over and over again.
I mean, it is kind of like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
But damn, are Pokemon good games?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have kind of every now and again gone back to Pokemon. But I mean, I guess you could call that correct. You know, shit doesn't change. It just gets a little bit different. The twist is a little bit different. You know, different things like that. Like, I didn't see that, you know, Bond was almost going to fucking die within the first 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So that was definitely different. But, you know, I can appreciate the psychological as well as the physical as well as, you know, the dialogue-driven lines through these movies. I can definitely appreciate it for that matter. Because, I mean, Bond is supposed to be one of those jack of all trades and master of most kind of deal. You know, good marksman, good fighter, parkour expert, you know, or at least decent at parkour. Guy knows how to talk his way into and out of any and everything.
Smooth
as peanut butter.
I will say, out of all the James Bond, out of all the actors that have played James Bond, Daniel Craig is probably the most athletic of all of them that can do some of or most of the stunts.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce Brosnan was like a big old fucking rugged Ted Danza looking motherfucker. And then, Roger Moore and Sean Connery, they were still kind of old for their time.
Mm-hmm.
They were just they were Bond because Bond is a good looking fella who gets a lot of girls, and that's what Sean Connery was. Sean Connery was a good looking fella back in the day.
Yeah.
Drive fast, shoot a lot, get ass.
And boy, was that fucking accent not just
Well, the funny thing is
Shrieking, not stirred.
the funny thing is that Bond, he's obviously a English character, but because of Connery playing Bond, the author had to go in and say, oh, he has Scottish roots.
Yeah.
Because of Connery.
well, you do anything to get Connery in there at that time. So,
what do you guys think as far as like some of your favorite? Ed, these are the only ones you've seen, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody else ever seen enough Bonds to like kind of put in your favorite actors to do the films? Or I think everybody here at this table at least would probably say Daniel Craig has been the best, probably.
yeah, and I think it's just because
To me, the other films don't age as well.
Yeah. With the exception of maybe
Dr. No.
Dr. No and Goldfinger,
Yeah.
all the
Goldfinger's
other ones are
really
kind
good.
of, yeah.
And I think Daniel Craig has benefited from when he was Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other films, you're dealing with the base
60s, 70s, and 80s.
the base kind of filmmaking at the time. So you're really having to deal with the I think the word you used was tropes.
The tropes. The tropes of,
the formula of Bond.
Mhm.
You had to use he was classy. You had to use the signature cars, the signature girls, the signature weapons. Now with Bond, you can have those things, but you can also have a really good film.
Yeah.
Like in this film, in China, I think is where they were.
Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
They're in Shanghai. You see the neon lights. You see the locations of Bond are becoming just
Easier
easier to get to. They're more and more out there. They're more and more just like the scenery of these films is just getting better and better.
Mhm. Even there, there's also the trope of Bond always has to say like some stupid cheesy line.
Mhm.
There's cheesy lines in this one, but they just work.
Yeah.
Other times, you watch the other films, you're like, that's stupid. Why are we doing this?
I don't think you say that. I think you say that with those ones because it just feels cheesy because of the time.
Yeah.
Again, if you were a fan, if you watched those in the 70s when they were going.
Yeah, you would think that would be funny. Right.
Again, he doesn't come in until an hour and 11 minutes into the film. What does everybody think about Javier Bardem in this film?
He has that same kind of.
He has that that.
He just has that demeanor.
I mean, honestly, I was feeling like he could snap at any time. He's got that
unpredictability.
Yeah.
Well, not even just the unpredictability, but it's just, that too, yes, but he's a pinky toe from crossing a line into insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of the fucker knows exactly what he's wanting to do, what he's doing, and all that. And he just happens to fall into all these situations that get him into where he's wanting to go. Kind of like before he goes into the bathroom, he looks back and he's like, all these other fucking policemen around me. I'll be damned. Cool. Kind of shit. Because that little smile and the look back was just like, nice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know when and Craig, you mentioned it. We'll probably talk more about him when we do No Country for Old Men. That's a movie I really want to talk about too.
Yeah.
But he's been nominated 3 times for an Oscar, so this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. But to me, like you guys just said, he is somebody who can just fucking snap at any time.
Well, and I was going to ask, do we kind of get that because of No Country for Old Men, or do you think? I mean, he portrays it really good in this, but do you think it's more so accelerated because we've seen him in No Country for Old Men?
Dude, in No Country for Old Men, he is the same. He's one
a
of those
sociopath.
Yeah.
And when he snaps, he fucking snaps.
And that's what, in this movie, you feel like he's already that type of character, and you're just like, when is he gonna snap?
Because of the way he talks in this movie, he's just so calm and cool.
Yeah.
And that he has it in him to just fucking snap at it.
Yeah,
And he kind of does. I mean, when after they catch him and they say, M's talking to him and she's, she basically says, you're going to be going to prison and I'll forget all about you. And he's like, do you know what cyanide does to you? And he removes his mouth plate.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn.
Pretty fun shit. I really hope we do No Country for Old Men. Probably will be January episode. It's one of those movies that is just, it leaves you kind of speechless in certain scenes, especially when he's carrying around the air gun.
Oh.
And like he's leaving your life up to a freaking coin flip.
Yeah.
He's like,
and the three movies right quick that he was nominated for was Beautiful, No Country for Old Men, and Before Night Falls.
Yeah, and he won for No Country for Old Men.
Yep.
Deservedly so. Something I was going to ask you guys, and there was a lot of, I don't know if there was a lot of criticism now when this movie came out, but looking back on it, and Sam Mendes has said this in interviews and has confirmed it, but do you guys get a lot of like Christopher Nolan Dark Knight, not so much references, but just kind of like thematic themes in this movie compared to the last two?
I don't.
Okay.
I think I know where you're going, and some people have used the word copy,
Mm-hmm.
or some people have also used the word that he uses pretty much some of the same cinematography feels like a Christopher Nolan does. But to me, and let's start the fucking argument now, but I can watch Sam Mendes films and be like, that's a Sam Mendes film.
Mm-hmm.
The story, the artwork, the storyboard, the cast, cinematography, everything
Visuals.
feels just good.
Mm-hmm.
You put up against a Nolan film, and certain Nolan films, to me, take The Dark Knight out of it, because I feel like I'm going to be biased anyway. Put his other films up there, and I just feel like they're good, but I don't see any kind of copycat issue with Sam Mendes. To me, I can really tell the separation of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be in certain moods to watch a Christopher Nolan film. I don't have to be in a mood to watch a Sam Mendes film.
I think
if that makes any sense.
After watching this, I haven't seen 1917 yet. But after watching,
he's done movies like American Beauty, Road to Perdition, Jarhead, Revolutionary Road, Away We Go, Skyfall, Spectre, and 1917.
Yeah, so what I was going to get at is, I feel like Christopher Nolan has sort of a similar feel, but his is like more out there. Whereas Sam Mendes' films have that feel, but it's a very tamed feel. It feels like he can contain the way that he's directing the film very well.
He can write a perfect story and allow you to follow it comfortably. Mm-hmm. Christopher Nolan can write a perfect story, but he's going to make you go through loops, jump over hurdles, swim, just to find out what the fucking score is for the movie.
Yeah.
See, I'm kind of opposite of you, Johnny, because like for me, obviously I've gone on record saying I'm the Nolan fan, but like I enjoy watching the Nolan films because it's going to be a mystery box. You don't know where he's going with it. With Sam Mendes, with the exception of Skyfall, 1917, and Road to Perdition, I really don't have I don't want to watch any of those other films.
Have you seen any of those other films?
Yeah, I've seen
Jarhead.
American Beauty, Skyfall, Spectre, Road to Perdition, in 1917.
But what's perfect about Sam Mendes is look at all the different storyboards he's done, and none of his other films are the exact same almost.
No, they're very different.
He can do very, very different films and still kind of keep you entertained.
Yeah.
To where, and if Tenet wins, if we do talk about Tenet, you guys will let me probably fucking vent then. But to me, it just kind of felt like Christopher Nolan's films are like he's trying to give you an aneurysm while watching his movies. I'll go on record by saying, besides The Dark Knight, I really think that Dunkirk is one of Nolan's best films.
Yeah.
Because it's, if not the best, because he gives it to you right then and there. He's not making you second guess. Mm-hmm. He's not making you think, and he's not making you watch his movie 2 or 3, 4 fucking times.
Yeah, I mean,
there's beauty and simplicity sometimes.
There is, but when you do it 3, 4, 5 movies in a row, sometimes then you're like, you go to the movie. Sometimes you want to watch, a sprint, not a marathon. Some of his movies are just like I don't mind it here and there, but when you do 4 or 5 movies in a row and your movies are like that, it's kind of like
when you do The Prestige, when you do Inception, when you do Tenet, it's just like you understand like as a filmmaker what his goal is.
right to give you a fucking stroke.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong; they're enjoyable films, but sometimes you're like, I want to see what else you can. No, not only that, I want to see what else you can do.
Right.
And when he gives you Dunkirk, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ!
Why don't you do this more often?
That's amazing. Yeah. And speaking of the devil, guys, we're right here in the middle of the scene where you first see
Silva.
Yeah.
We put the closed captions on,
and it's really really good.
We buried an oil drum and hinged the lid. Then we wired coconut to the lid as bait, and the rats would come for the coconut. And boing, 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 they would fall into the drum. And after a month, we've trapped all the rats. But what did you do then? Throw the drum into the ocean? Burn it? No. We just leave it. And they begin to get hungry. And one by one, they start eating each other until there are only 2 left, 2 survivors. And then what? Do you kill them? No. You take them and release them into the trees. But now they don't eat coconut anymore. Now they only eat rat. You have changed their nature. The 2 survivors. This is what you made us.
I made my own choices.
Do
you guys think that this film picks up super quick as soon as you see him on the screen? To me, you have that small sense of, okay, there's maybe a 10-15 minute pacing issue from the scene where they're in Hong Kong, Shanghai to this. There's like, maybe about a 10-minute slow pacing period. But man, as soon as he hits that screen,
you're just like enthralled by it.
And you know what? This scene isn't even action packed.
It's just dialogue.
It's the way he presents his dialogue and just his demeanor, the look, everything about this film or this character just picks it up.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I think you said it right there, Johnny. I mean, you could make an argument that maybe for 10 minutes it kind of slows down. For me, Skyfall works so well because of the pacing. It's just quick, and you're not lagging or anything.
It gives you time to breathe.
Yes.
So,
and the scene where we get to introduce Silva, he very much tries to get not so much Bond on his side, but just kind of convince him, like, look, that old woman that you tried to protect all the time, she's not all what she says she is. So, thinking that, did any of y'all think that maybe Bond would switch sides?
Just for the simple fact because of the writing,
right? But Bond is always good. But did you ever?
I would have liked to seen it.
Yeah.
And not necessarily even turn bad, but I do like how they did play with the idea to where she said to take the shot.
Mm.
Maybe I should go, Mike. Maybe I should go ahead and do away with this old bitch.
Right.
She told her to take the shot. She doesn't care about my life. This guy is making more sense. Maybe I should not give a fuck. But he doesn't. So, what about you over there, Ed? You're
a little quiet over there, buddy.
Did you like the dialogue with Silva throughout the movie, or what do you think about Silva?
He did definitely have a better presence than Quantum of Solace. Like you said earlier, he's got a calm demeanor about him, but you understand and know he can flip a switch at any time, and it's kind of like the first scene that he shows up in sets that precedence because he already understands psychology and he lets you know that because of the rat monologue. He tells you that, to go ahead and do something, you need to put this into effect, that into effect, and then this happens, and then it leads to that. And guess what? You've changed them. So I mean, he already understands. There's simple things you can do to go ahead and fuck with someone to change their entire personality or their entire demeanor or their entire nature for that matter. So you know he's very intelligent. And it's not going to be that hard, especially if he's insane as he's seen. Or
What about
as
the next
insane
time?
as he's
The next time you see him after this, do you like that scene?
Where they do the marksmanship
Oh.
with the girl.
Well, that shows you his insanity right
Yeah.
there, that he doesn't give a shit. You know, and he's taunting and toying with Bond, essentially, trying to see where his point is, to where, what will you do to catch me? You know, kind of thing. But then Bond does get one over on him and catches him. But, I mean, it's kind of like, did he set it up to do that? Did he not? You know. But, I mean, like I said, you know, that scene lets you know he really doesn't give a fuck. He's good with, it's cool.
Well, and
Got
I
it.
think in that scene, I think either way, like if Bond shoots the whiskey off her head, he's still shooting her.
Right,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, you shot it, good.
I almost
win.
feel like Silva wanted to be caught so he can get closer to Judi Dench.
Well, I
Probably.
mean, well, yeah, because
It's like a Bane.
yeah. Well, even a Joker, where it's just like he's
Joker.
thought about this. You know, he planned this from the beginning.
Yeah.
He wanted us to catch him, and now he's out, and he's going after him.
Yeah.
So, which
Or-
that whole sequence with the music score by Thomas Newman is just heart pounding.
Mhm.
So,
What do you think when he finally does get out and, you know, you have the underground train sequence when the train hits and that whole action sequence? That almost made my honorable mentions today. It's kind of just, again, more impactful than any other Bond film that they've had. So,
and you know, I guess we can go ahead and jump to towards the end. You know, a lot of Bond films, they're always the title is always a reference to something, or you know, the plot or whatever. What I loved about this one was, you know, Skyfall. That's basically his parents' house. It's his childhood home, and so that's, you know, where the final battle takes place. And you know, what do we think about that?
it wasn't
Basically,
as
Home Alone on steroids.
yeah. I liked it. It wasn't. To me, this movie was great, and then leading up to the ending, I thought the ending was a little bit more impactful than it was, and it was. I mean, you get the death of him.
Yeah.
You know, Judi Dench is dead.
Yeah.
But to me, I thought it was going to be a little bit more darker.
Part of me thought that, not so much the first time I saw, but like just thinking about the film, part of me thought it would have been probably more impactful if she dies in the court hearing scene, and then it's kind of like the final confrontation between Bond and Silva at Skyfall.
Yeah.
So.
What about you guys? Did you guys like the way they ended? Medicine. Did you guys like the way? Did you guys like the way it ended?
I mean, it was a surprise to me just because of how big the character was in the film. But I mean, you know, it's kind of like, okay, what are they doing for, you know, Spectre? You know, kind of deal with. Plus, I mean, did you already say the replacement, basically?
Of him?
Him, yeah.
Yeah, well, at the end of the film, it's revealed that Ralph Fiennes is him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you have to move in some way. And I mean, maybe they were trying to regain a lot back, so that was their big move. They couldn't obviously kill off Bond.
Like start from the beginning, kind of.
Well, not even that, but to gain the popularity of Bond, for that matter. Again, just because, you know, okay,
You had to change something up.
What's going on next? You know, kind of thing. So, yeah.
What about you, Craig?
It was good. Yeah, not much to complain about. It was very, you know, wasn't anything wrong with it. Wasn't anything really right with it. It just kind of went.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know,
But it just seemed right.
Right. It's a little bit more right than wrong.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really, like, it could have went either way, and I think it would have been okay.
But yeah, and you know, the thing is, you know, with every Bond film, he saves the day. You know, he rescues the girl or whatever, and you know, this one, the fact of the matter is, you know, there's really no Bond girl that there's no main Bond girl. I guess you could say M's the Bond girl in this one, but he can't save her.
Yeah.
And that, that kind of reflects the whole.
Bond can really save anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is he, quote unquote, is he ready to go back into the field?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's another thing that I kind of liked about this film is, I don't know how long it was, kind of jumping back to the beginning, how long he was out.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it shows he was rusty. Cause,
I think they said it was 3 months. It was 3 months since they lost the drive.
Okay.
So.
It was kind of cool to see, because, in a lot of the Bond films, he's up and ready to go. He's tip-top shape at all times. And in this one, you kind of see him struggle to get back into being in shape and being fit, and he has to pass all these tests. And what was cool is, in the scene that we just saw with the whiskey on the head, is he tells him, he's like, let's see if you can improve those scores. So obviously he has access to everything dealing with MI6. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And it is very, poignant at the end where, M dies and she says, at least I got something right. Mm-hmm. Of, you really weren't ready to go back in, but you were the only one that could really pull this off.
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys have any favorite scenes leading up into, throughout the film? We can go ahead and talk about some favorite scenes. Ed, you want to go first?
Honestly, the train sequence, once it started out, was kind of a very weird ride, and the end of it was certainly no more or no less weird. But yeah, I'd say that. So I mean, definitely the start of the movie. I'd have
Craig,
to say that.
what about you?
You kind of mentioned it earlier when he's after he hops off of the bobcat, and he kind of fixes his jacket. It's subtle, but it was a good part of the film. When he walks in, the bad guy, Sylvia, when he walks in and kind of talks to Bond, that was a good scene. Even though the scenes that I'm talking about are very minimum, but they're very impactful. Like, him fixing his jacket probably would go by a lot of people, but it's the fact that he did it, and it shows that he's like,
Yeah, I did that.
I did that. I ran across 2 trains with a fucking bobcat. I'm Bond, but I still got to be classy. I still got to look good. And then Sylvia coming in talking to him.
Professionals have standards and don't have regrets. So I mean,
real quick, I'm going to rapid fire through mine. The introduction of Sylvia, the pure dialogue from Javier Bardem from the time he meets Bond until he kills the girl. And then the ending when the train sequence comes down, and then call me heartless, but I love the death of Judi Dench. I thought it's
powerful.
It's powerful. It kind of sets the tone of how important this motherfucker is as far as Silva, and it shows. Out of all 3 movies, even now, what is this? 2012. Mm-hmm. So all these years later. The one thing a lot of people remember about Skyfall is Javier Bardem. I don't think this movie would have been as memorable or good without him in it. Well, to me, he makes this fucking movie.
Go ahead, Greg.
Going back to saving the Bond girls, in Casino Royale, does Eva Green, does she end up dying?
She dies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. She dies.
Yeah, because she's Vesper.
Yeah.
And they talk in Quantum Solace about, Vesper, she really loved you and all this and all that, so, yeah, she fucking
Casino
died.
Royale and Quantum kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this kind of resets the stone. Zach, what about you?
You're right. I mean, in the older Bond films, he always saves the girl.
Yeah, it's just that kind of came into my head. I was like,
no, you're right.
I thought she died.
I mean, there's so much great shit in this movie. I mean,
this is another good scene.
The scene we're watching where he removes his mouth plate and his face gets all caved in and everything from the cyanide is great. Like you said, probably each one of y'all, the opening sequence, the train sequence, Ed. What was yours, Craig?
When Sylvia introduces himself and then the kind of fixing the jacket.
Probably for me is in the middle of the Skyfall battle when they blow up the Aston Martin, and Bond is just like, "Oh, you just fucked up," and he proceeds to light a stick of dynamite to 2 oil tanks, and completely blows up the manor.
I think those were air tanks, if I'm not mistaken. Actually,
Is it air tanks? Or
That's
I
what
thought
they
they
look
were.
like.
I thought they
Oxygen
were.
tanks.
I thought they were gasoline tanks.
They look like either propane cylinders or air tanks or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Something like that.
But yeah, and then even just the ending where M says, "Are you ready to get back to work, Bond?" And he says, "With pleasure, M. With pleasure." And it ends, and you get the gun barrel sequence, and then 50 years of James Bond.
50, which is kind of crazy. All right, guys, it's time. We've talked about Casino Royale. We've did Spectre 2 weeks ago. Man, the left side of his face here kind of looked like a chick that just got done giving birth. So, he had stretch marks for days, didn't he?
It wasn't stretch marks. His face was concaved in. There's no bone. That's what that.
Oh, look, he's laughing. He thought the joke was funny.
But I mean, you talk about Ed, the unhinged part of him when he's laughing. When he does that, it's just like, oh yeah, this guy's ready to go.
Craig, what about you? Well, let's start off with Ed. Ed, what would you give this film?
Do you remember what you gave Casino?
I do not.
It's been 11 months. Go back and listen to the episode.
Damn. I'd definitely give this about probably a 7. Honestly, a 7, just because this one is a lot better. The villain feels a lot better. The dialogue feels better than Quantum, at least. It's just an overall really, really decent film. So,
Craig,
7.
what about you?
I think this is the better Bond film of the initial 3 that we're talking about. I would still rate Casino Royale higher, even though I think this is a better film. But I'm going to give this a 7.
A 7. I'm going to give this movie a 9. I think Skyfall is, to me, you could take Bond out of it and call Daniel Craig's character completely different. You call him fucking Hunan for all I care. The moment Javier Bardem shows up and completely just changes... honestly, the first hour feels like a Bond film. The second hour completely has a different feel than...
Like a Mission Impossible film.
Yeah. It feels deeper, it feels darker, and it feels more unpredictable. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like about this movie compared to all the other Bond movies, is this one is just unpredictable, and the performances are fun, and Javier takes it and knocks it out of the park for me.
Yeah.
So it's a 9. Zach, what about you?
I'm going to go one step above you. I think it's a 10. I think this really was in consideration for my favorite films of all time. It's by far a great action movie, but it's, I think, my opinion, out of all the ones I've seen, it's the best James Bond movie.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoy it. You guys should email us and send us a star rating. At the beginning of the year, we are going to drop a email episode. The very first episode of 2021 will be an email episode, so send us all different kinds of emails. Let us know what you think about Skyfall, and let us know what your star rating would be. You guys can email us at cinem921@gmail.com. I got an email right now, so send us some emails, cinem921@gmail.com. I get 40, 50 emails a day. I may not get to all of them in one day, but I will eventually get to them. So send us some emails, and we'll read them right here on the show. So we'll go ahead and send some out right now. David says Halloween 3 was a complete waste of film. I think it was just a complete terrible shit film. I'd give it a 3. I wouldn't even waste any more fucking air out of my lungs if it saved my life on this film. So
tell us your real thoughts, man.
Yeah, at least someone agreed with me, man.
Yeah, I was not here for that episode, but I did watch it.
What would you give it?
What do you think, Craig?
I'm right there with him. So I did not know that Mike was not in it, and I'm sitting there watching.
Oh man! At what point did you get in the movie? You're like, the fuck? Where's Michael Myers?
About halfway through, when they it was like the scientist, I think is what it was. He started doing shit, and I'm like, hold on.
The Rock from Stonehenge.
So I started I read the synopsis. I started looking into stuff, and once I realized he wasn't in it, I fast forwarded because on Apple TV you can kind of skim through and see the little thumbnails at the bottom, and I was like, oh fuck this. So I got about
Man, and
Three
Craig, you should have
quarters.
been on that episode.
Do you watch
That
the
would've been
hotel
so
scene
fun.
at least?
Do what?
Do you watch the hotel scene at least? Very, nice.
I can't remember.
That's how shitty it was.
Hotel scene. I'm pretty sure I did.
I'm pretty sure you did too. This one is for Ed by Coco Chris. Last week, Ed, you talked about The Exorcist, how it was your favorite horror movie, but bro, how come you gave it a 9? What does a movie need for you to give it a fucking 10?
God damn.
This
was a long time ago this happened too, and then I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the first one I ever gave a 10 to. No, it is one of probably my number 1 or number 2 easily, and it can be flipped with like Halloween for that matter. Every other week.
What does
You know
it
what I mean?
take?
I don't know.
What's that TV show you watch?
Letterkenny.
Yeah, it's gotta have Letterkenny.
Now, if Jared Kiso makes a fucking Exorcist, holy shit.
Bro,
bud.
could you imagine if they played hockey dressed up as Harry Potter characters? Swing!
Call it Quidditch.
Quidditch on ice.
I mean, let's be
Fucking-
honest, guys. I mean, there is a little girl that gets tortured in The Exorcist, so I mean, it's close to a 10, right?
Yeah, because the little girl
fuck?
gets tortured. Because you hate little kids.
God damn, y'all really fucking hate me. Shit.
You brought that on yourself.
Like, damn. But I mean, it's not that it takes a lot.
It takes 2 kids getting tortured.
Definitely 2.
Jurassic Park? A 10.
I mean, you gotta have boss.
Jurassic Park at 10.
You gotta have Boss Summit as well as Lucifer in the film because that's what kicked it down to a star. Sorry about that.
He really liked the beginning of Antichrist.
So episode 3 is your favorite film, right? Because that's when Anakin completely wipes out all those young Jedis.
Oh, fuck you! Holy shit!
I know what his favorite scene is from that movie.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the little meme that actually came up to where she's saying that the Sith blade did a lot of damage and all that, while she's holding the Youngling Killer 3000 over here. Fucking
Mr. Skywalker, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna kill all you little fuckers.
I'm about to go to Butcher Town, bitch. It's Flavor Town time.
So if you don't have money for condoms, guys, it's 1-800-SKYWALKER.
It's the Anakin.
Oh my god.
James from Vancouver says, I loved hearing the Exorcist episode, but I do agree it's not for everyone. Besides 3 or maybe 4 scenes, to me it just feels like a dark drama.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can see that.
Those are 3 or 4 scenes elevated, though.
Also, I would like to say I did have a rant on last week's, on a few weeks ago when we talked about The Exorcist, about people should take or keep the little grubby kids in the theater and not take them to the theater. Now that I have you guys here, and somebody didn't complain to me about it, but they brought it up. They were like, "What do you guys do if you have you haven't got out on a date yet and you have a baby? Would you still take the baby to the theater?" I heard you rant about it on your Exorcist episode. To me, I would still take the baby because we don't have a babysitter. I had a rant
Okay.
on the episode of The Exorcist. I don't know if you guys have heard yet, but on the Exorcist episode, I said, and I quote, "How fucking dumb can you be if you have a movie that's rated R and it has, movies talking about cock, sausages, and all this different stuff, racist, quotes in it,
Jesus, fuck you. Shit.
and Sausage Party. It's when I was talking about Sausage Party,
Yeah.
and the family in front of me took all their kids, 9 or 7 kids, and they got up and walked out and caused a big old scene in the middle of the movie because of the firewater scene.
And they told you, they said it's not a kids movie. This may be animated.
So they got up and they complained about it. They caused a whole scene, had their flashlight on, trying to get out of the theater, trying to gather up all 9 of their kids.
Oh God.
How do you guys feel about this? If not even just Sausage Party, but how do you guys feel about a couple? Okay, say it's young parent, young mom and dad taking their 4-month-old baby out. They don't have a babysitter, but they want to take the baby out to the theater. How do you guys feel about that? If you're spending your hard-earned money and you're going and seeing a movie like, let's say a James Bond movie, and a mom and dad take their little 6-month-old baby, and they ruin the movie.
I mean, honestly, I would say go to a movie theater, kind of like the Warren, that has a cry room. Then you can at least
Or the Harkins, where they have that little playroom.
Yeah, there's.
But
you
can't leave a 4-month-old in that playroom.
Right. But I mean, at least, be understanding that other people are spending their hard-earned money. Understanding that you haven't had a date or an outing or whatever.
Go to fucking KFC. Don't take the kid with you.
God damn.
Craig, what do you think? I mean, you recently had a kid soon. Would you guys would wait, or would you guys even?
Yeah. So if my thought process of this is, if you can't get a babysitter,
don't go.
Exactly.
If you want to take the kid out and go somewhere, go
bowling.
Do something else. Don't do something that requires quiet. It's a kid. A kid literally does not understand when you need to be quiet, when you can be loud. It's just a kid. It's a baby. It's gonna, if it's crying, it's because it feels uncomfortable. So maybe if it's crying, it feels uncomfortable in the theater because it's super dark and it's super loud, super bright,
and you smell all kinds of goodies and you can't get them.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're wrong. Even teens today don't know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I told the story. I don't know if you remember. I told the story in the Extras episode a few weeks ago that when me and you went and saw Suicide Squad, there was a bunch of rambling, and you stood up, and I was like, this 8-foot tall motherfucker stood up and looked over and was like, "Can we watch the movie, please?"
I did not do that.
You stood up and said, "Can we watch the movie?"
I did not do that with Suicide
did.
Squad.
Was it Justice League? It had Ben Affleck in the movie. It was Suicide Squad, or
if I did that during Suicide Squad, I got huge balls that I do not remember having because
you stood up and looked behind you.
No, I did.
Yeah,
because they were all
it was the second time me and you saw it twice.
Yeah,
and it was the time you took Mallory with us.
I didn't stand up. I just looked back because it was a bunch of teenagers on their phone just talking, yakking, and I'm like, yo.
I could have sworn you stood up because I went like this.
I was like, yo, can we just chill and watch the film? Like,
because when I heard that, I looked up and was like, God. That's how deep your voice was.
No, but it's like
it's common sense.
You have to realize that it's a film. People are there to hear, to listen, to understand the dialogue, experience. If you're gonna talk, go to Redbox, watch some Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, do something that if you want to be loud, do something that's not going to interrupt other people.
Or have a movie club and talk it on your fucking podcast like we do.
I mean,
Jesus,
just
Hulu. It's something else that.
Just Hulu and Snoo, like, fuck it.
Like, I'm not saying, like, you can't enjoy yourself, but you have to realize that if you have a kid, sometimes you have to give up some of those,
or
some of those experiences.
You can do like I did. If we didn't have anybody to watch her, we watched movies at home, or we waited until she was 3, and then we went to kids' movies. Even when you take them to a kids' movie, there is still that. I can't get mad if, say I wanted to go see Toy Story 4.
Oh, them little kids. Bro,
right.
I am a grown-ass man. I waited like 15 years for Toy Story 4 to come out.
Or you can do like I did. There was a little kid in front of me who just wouldn't shut up, so I kicked the shit out of his shit. God, shut up.
You do that anywhere.
No, you
fucking
did.
KFC, you're like, take the last biscuit, bitch.
But no, what I was gonna say was when I go to a kid's movie with my kid, I'm expecting a little bit more ruckus, a little bit more noise. So then it's kind of like a free for all. Like, take your little kid, but don't take your fucking kid to go see Star Wars or fucking Skyfall or Deadpool.
Or go when there's not a large crowd.
Like, legitly.
Don't take him on a Friday fucking night.
Yeah.
When I went to see
go Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon when nobody's really there.
Oh, and something else that really pisses me off.
Something like just grind your gears, Zach.
Is okay. Say you go to a movie theater, and there's like 2 people, like you and Ed go see a movie, and there's like you have the entire theater to yourself, and then you have some bozo walk in, like literally sit right in front of you. They have the entire auditorium.
Oh my god!
And they sit right in front of you.
Dude, no. Okay, that's not too bad. I can accept that. No. Hold on.
That's not too bad.
That's not too bad. I can accept the fucker sitting in front of me.
And then they're on their phone the entire fucking time.
But when they literally walk right up to me, okay, because if we fucking have the goddamn theater alone, I will literally count the rows, count the seats, and get in the middle of the fucking auditorium. I literally will.
Yeah.
If they fucking walk up to me and sit next to me, that pisses me off more than anything, because it's like, dude, you've got 3 rows in front, you've got 5 rows in back, you've got 16 seats. Like,
technically, you're going to see like fucking Countdown instead of the Joker. So then,
yeah, it's not like what you're saying is important, which is why there are only 3 people in the theater.
Like when I went to see Deadpool, a woman brought her fucking 8-year-old, and then was like,
Well,
I mean, they were cool with it and shit like that.
I can
But I was
understand
just
that.
like,
it's
dude.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but I mean, they're wrong. He's like, you're literally at the beginning of the film. He's like chastising parents for bringing their kids.
8-year-old
Like, legitly.
8-year-old is,
No.
is a little different than somebody taking a 4-year-old to go see a giant bottle of whiskey talking about firewater.
I've got cousins who
Talking
still
about
aren't.
balls.
I've got cousins who still aren't allowed to watch Dragon Ball Z.
If only they waited until
Legitly.
the end.
And they're in their high teens right now.
High teens?
High teens.
That
As in
sounds-
16, 17,
As-
18
If
years
it's
old.
in Oklahoma, it's legal.
Like Dragon Ball Z. I was watching that shit when I was like 6 years old. But yeah.
Did that go over everybody's head?
No.
I said they're high teens.
I know.
Okay.
It's a new word, Craig. Let's get with the
You should
program.
get-
Well,
them-
it's
hey.
it's medical. They're
If
always
you're,
stressed out.
if you're a young teen, Ed hates you. But if
Yeah.
you're a high teen, you're okay.
You should tell them to call in on the episode one day and they can talk fucking movies with us.
That probably wouldn't go over very well.
'Cause if they
because
can't-
of our language.
If they can't watch Dragon Ball Zord, then they at least have to watch.
Stop it.
fucking-
I'm gonna.
Wow.
They can at least watch fucking Skyfall.
I
with
mean, you
us.
could have at least said Dragon Ball Z or something like that. Like shit.
Oh, speaking of recent watches,
Uh-oh.
I watched fucking Power Rangers.
Yeah.
The,
with,
the remake with Bryan
No,
Cranston?
no, the old
Yeah.
one.
It's on
Where-
HBO Max.
So,
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin, or are you talking the movie?
Turbo.
Turbo. I watched. Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
Bro, that
It
movie
had-
was so bad.
It had that little Fergie in it.
Think like what's the thing from Star Wars? The
Ewoks.
Ewok.
Did you notice that the little fucking thing on the Turbo Power Rangers movie had like a fucking? You could see the Nike shoe underneath the fucking
It's bad,
Foot.
dude.
Dietrich Talks though. Dietrich Talks. She can take over my world any day.
You realize there are people listening to this like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Power Rangers Turbo, HBO Max. Henry says, so if you guys had to do the ultimate Christmas top 5, what would be a Christmas movie you'd want to talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about Mine's The Grinch, so.
8 Crazy Nights.
Zach had to bring me a lot of fucking candy canes in order to get that on the schedule.
Oh, I bet. 8 Crazy Nights.
Buddy, you're sitting over there with the 4K 20th edition of it, so shut up.
What you guys should go check it out, and that's what we're going to be reviewing here in a few weeks. Is man, I can't believe the Grinch is 20 years old already.
That's crazy.
I remember elementary school it came out.
Yep.
I want to talk Christmas Vacation or Home Alone. I think those would be fun. I love Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Elf.
Elf would be
Grinch. Please, can we please just lay off of A Christmas Story?
God, you don't like A Christmas Story?
Bro, that shit is so overplayed. I'm sorry.
Because you put it on
Don't
TBS
shoot your
on
eye
Christmas
out,
Eve.
kid.
It's a 24-hour marathon. Then you go to my parents' house.
That's all they have
And,
planned to.
and
Yeah.
Chaslin's like, "Oh, Christmas Story. It's a tradition of ours." So I
Okay.
watch it there. Then I go to my wife's parents' house, and they're like, "Oh, I love A Christmas Story. It's the only thing on." And I'm like, "Bro, NBA basketball is on. Can we please watch something that's gonna be different than fucking you're gonna shoot your eye out, kid?"
So that actually brings up a good fucking point. Like, why is Charlie
Lamar
Brown,
Odom almost shot his eye out.
Why is Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving thing taking fucking off? But
Ed, we talked
fucking
about this on the
Christmas
last
Story,
episode.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
Apple TV owns the Charlie Brown specials. So if you want to watch it, it's now exclusive to Apple TV Plus.
But I mean,
Subscribe.
like,
Pay. Go buy the Blu-rays.
fuck Apple.
Go buy the Blu-rays.
Great advertisement, guys.
Sean says, my favorite part about The Exorcist is the ending credits because that film is so fucking boring. I would give it a 4.
I would give it a 10.
What is your favorite horror films? We'd love to hear them on.
Sean, send us your favorite horror films.
Just to be curious on your end,
You just made Ed insanely pissed off.
No. I just want to see. That's all. I'm not mad. I don't care. It's his opinion.
Steven says, I would like to hear you guys think about your thoughts about The King of Staten Island. It's a little long for me, but I do think it was a decent watch. Funny and comedical and heartfelt. What would you guys think about it? I also do not really like Pete Davidson, but I do like him in this film.
Johnny, you're the only one that's seen it, so.
You guys haven't watched it yet?
No.
Jesus.
I think that's your Did you send in that email? Because that sounds exactly like
That's not mine. I do say you guys should check it out. I would like to talk about. I haven't. I've only watched that one time, so I don't know how good the rewatchability might be. Judd Apatow films do kind of feel like they do run.
They're always long.
Yeah. The girth of that director. Sam G69. This is a fun one, and this is probably what we'll end on. Sam G69 says, guys, have you thought about doing a Christmas season like you do Halloween season, to where you do 2 months of Christmas movies, November and all of December?
Do 2 months, September, October, Halloween, and then Christmas on November, December.
It feels like a lot. I don't know.
I mean, it's been 2 years with this podcast. I don't know if there's that many good Christmas films to
good. Correct.
There's a lot of Christmas movies. So
Yeah.
Good films, though, is the question.
Yeah.
like you could.
I could
pretty
probably
much knock
count.
'em out.
I could probably count 10 good classic Christmas movies that everybody should at least see once. I mean, I can count at least 10. But yeah, I would. I don't know.
But
That's
if you want to like start digging into like TV specials, that's a different story. There's a lot of good TV specials, but as far as like films that are considered classics, you could get done with that in one season. You know, it's
Practically, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read this last one. Phoenix says, would you guys ever think about doing another film series? You guys have talked about Marvel in the past and ended it with Endgame. You guys have talked about Bond and supposed to end it with No Time to Die. And you guys have also done the same with Star Wars. Is there another franchise out there that you guys would want to talk about?
I mean, yeah, definitely. There are a few that come to mind right now. I mean, first off, motherfucker.
well, I would
True.
like to do another one that leads into
A brand new movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, honestly, even you could kind of count Halloween to an extent that we've done that. Because Halloween Kills is what, next October?
Yep.
Next year?
I mean, we could start off with like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Do Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, then go into the Garfield because
Amazing.
I feel like there's going to be a
Crossover?
multiverse type situation going on.
We kind of talked about it. What do you guys talk? How do you guys feel about the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies?
I like them.
I like them.
They're all right.
Zach, I talked to you about the Transformers movies.
Mm-hmm.
At least the first 3. I mean,
And Bumblebee, but you've already done. I think you.
no, we haven't done any Transformers movies yet. Zach, what about you? I mean, do you have any franchises out there that just, other than Lord of the Rings?
Next year's the 20th anniversary of A Fellowship, so
Oh my god!
yeah.
Damn.
So that one would be good. I would like to continue Craig, I know you don't like it, but I know continuing Harry Potter, that'd be a good one to do. Because
Yeah.
Who says I don't like Harry Potter?
I saw you during the whole recording session, Craig.
I went on
Of doing the first one,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first one.
He did give it like an 8. I went through a complete marathon and watched like the first 4 back to back to back after that episode, and then I just kind of fell off.
I just hate.
I need to get back on the train.
I hate the people who really enjoy the films because that's all they talk about.
4 does kind of fall off a little bit. 4 is good, but it falls off a little bit.
Because you could
especially
talk
after
about
3.
you could talk about like a chocolate bunny for Easter, and then go, well, yeah, we got the chocolate frog in Harry Potter.
Hey, look, motherfucker, okay?
Like they try to reference everything back to it.
Oh, you like gummies? Bernie's every flavor beans, or Bernie
Or
Bot's every
Scream,
flavor
when
beans.
Scream 5 comes out, we could always talk Scream 2, 3, and 4. We've already talked about Scream 1 on an episode long ago.
Fucking Clerks.
Dude, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Fuck it.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm down. I'm down.
Hey,
And
look,
then
you
we go
guys
out
are
of 4.
crossing over.
Hey,
to the dark side. Or
No,
Fuck
you
you.
guys are touching the tips.
nobody touched tips. At
Just the tip.
least mine's long enough to cross over.
Oh.
On that note, we could also talk Twilight.
I'm down.
mean,
I like
fuck it,
I
I
like
guess,
Twilight.
you know.
It's my guilty.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
So, other than that, guys, I think we are getting ready to talk about Star Wars next week. We are talking all things Rogue One Monday, December the 7th.
Craig is so excited.
Oh, dude, I fucking.
And then
love
Monday, December the 14th, we were talking the 15-year anniversary of King Kong from 2005, directed by Peter Jackson, starring Jack Black.
Craig, don't watch the bootleg version.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, the only time I've seen that is bootleg. Maybe I should.
And then December the 21st is the 20th anniversary of Ron Howard's The Grinch. And then December the 28th, it's up to you. We're going to talk about a movie that's from 2020, whether it be The Tenet or Antebellum, Unhinged,
King of Staten
Island.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a few up there in a poll, and the poll is going to literally start December the 1st, and it's going to end on December the 25th, on Christmas Day.
Is that directly for theatrical releases, or are we doing like Netflix too?
If you guys want to pick a Netflix movie, we're all picking one. You know, you could pick two, you could pick two, you could pick two. It doesn't matter if we have 10 movies up there. It's going to end up getting cut down to one. So you guys can do your research. If it's a 2020 film, throw it in the pot, and we'll throw it up in a poll. So December the 28th is viewer's choice, and then January the 4th, guys, to start off the new year, we will talk emails. You guys can send us in your emails, send us your thoughts, your criticism, good or bad, and we will share them on a full-length episode.
Sounds good.
So other than that, guys, we're stuffed. Our wallets are a little thinner due to Thanksgiving and Black Friday. You guys have any other thoughts on Skyfall?
No, it was great talking about it, and I'm looking forward to Spectre and No Time to Die.
So pretty fun. Other than that, Craig, do you have anything else to talk about?
No, just excited for next week, and may the force be with you.
Craig, Zach,
Who?
Fuck me,
Fucking
Ed.
A,
You have
dude.
anything else to talk about?
Everybody else
HR,
but me. I know, right?
motherfucker.
Fucking-
No, I'll see you next week, guys.
Nah, this is Edward saying I will see you on the silver screen.
Alright guys, this is Juan. Don't forget, next week, check us out for Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Next week, right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Don't forget, send us those emails, cinemen921@gmail.com. We'll see you next week for Star Wars, a Rogue One story. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Right here on the podcast. Keep the kids at home.